What if I told you that right now, there's a creature just a few meters away from you capable of killing an adult in less than an hour? Scientists have identified spiders whose venom is so lethal that it can dissolve human tissue, paralyze the nervous system, and cause pain that doctors describe as unbearable. Today, you'll learn about the 5 most venomous spiders on the planet, and one of them has probably already been in your house. Imagine a spider web swaying in the wind. You pass by it every day without noticing, but at the center of this perfect architecture awaits a hunter. 8 eyes, 8 legs, and glands that produce one of nature's most complex substances, venom, not to defend oneself, but to kill. From the forests of Australia to urban basements, these creatures have developed chemical weapons so efficient that science is still unable to replicate them in the laboratory. And you're about to find out why some of them are capable of killing us. If you're already curious about this topic, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for even more surprising facts. Spider venom is not just toxic. It's a mixture of hundreds of proteins and neurotoxins designed to incapacitate specific prey. Some attack the nervous system, others dissolve cells, and the most dangerous do both at the same time. Unlike snakes, which can control the amount of venom injected, spiders release all they have in a single bite. And in some cases, that's more than enough. But what makes a spider truly lethal isn't just the potency of its venom, it's the likelihood of it encountering humans. And these 5 are the masters of silent death. Brazilian Amazon, dark night. A shadow moves swiftly across the forest floor. Robust body, long, hairy legs. 15 centimeters wingspan. But what makes it the most venomous spider in the world, according to the Guinness Book of Records, is not its size. It's the fact that it doesn't wait in webs. It actively hunts. And when cornered, she doesn't run away. She attacks. Phonutria venom contains PHTX3, a neurotoxin that causes total loss of muscle control, extreme respiratory distress, painful priapism in men, and in severe cases, death by asphyxiation. Brazilian hospitals keep a specific anti-venom in permanent stock because this spider has a disturbing habit, entering houses and hiding inside clothes and shoes. Just 1 drop of its venom can kill a mouse in seconds, and it injects more than 20 times that amount in a single bite. The Phonutria spider does not weave elaborate webs like other spiders. During the day, it hides in dark, damp places, under fallen logs, inside dense foliage, and often in cardboard boxes and banana bunches. That's exactly why it earned the nickname banana spider. Not because it feeds on bananas, but because it's frequently found in shipments of tropical fruits exported to other countries. Supermarket workers in Europe and the United States have reported unexpected findings when opening boxes from South America. In 2014, a market in London had to be evacuated after Phonutria eggs were discovered in a bunch of bananas. Each ootheca, or egg sac, can contain up to 3,000 offspring, and when they hatch, they are all born with active venom. The bite of the Brazilian wandering spider, as it is also known in Brazil, is dangerous not only because of its venom, but also because of the speed with which it acts. Victims report that the pain is immediate and unbearable. It begins at the bite site and spreads rapidly throughout the affected limb. Excessive sweating begins within 15 minutes. Blood pressure spikes or plummets erratically. Vision becomes blurred. And then comes the most disturbing part. The victim begins to lose control of their muscles, including their respiratory system. Without treatment, death can occur between 2 and 6 hours. The anti-venom exists and is effective, but it needs to be administered quickly, and it's not always available in rural areas where encounters with Phonutria are more common. There's a detail that makes this spider even more fascinating and frightening. Researchers have discovered that the venom of the Phonutria contains a component that is being studied for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. The substance TX26 showed promising results in tests, which raises an interesting philosophical question. Can the same chemical weapon that can kill also heal? But here's what few people know. The wandering spider is not aggressive by nature. It prefers to flee rather than fight. However, when it feels cornered, it adopts an unmistakable defensive posture. She raises her front paws, displaying the red markings on her chelicerae, and sways her body from side to side. It's a clear warning: get out of my way or I'll attack. And when it attacks, there is no hesitation. The fangs pierce the skin in milliseconds and the venom is injected directly into the bloodstream. Would you check your shoes every morning if you knew she lived in your area? Sydney, Australia. One of the most modern cities in the world, but beneath the rocks, in gardens and even in swimming pools, lives the most aggressive spider on the planet. The Atrax robustus is small, but its fangs are larger than those of some snakes. Fangs so strong they can pierce a human fingernail. Its venom contains delta-atracotoxin, a protein that specifically attacks primates. This means it is lethal to humans, but harmless to most other animals, as if evolution had created a weapon especially for us. And there's more. Males of the species are 6 times more venomous than females. They roam during mating season and frequently enter houses. Before the anti-venom was developed in 1981, 13 people died from its bites. Since then, no deaths have been recorded, but attacks continue to occur almost weekly. The funnel web spider isn't just venomous, it's incredibly resilient. It can survive submerged in water for over 24 hours. It can fast for months, and when threatened, it doesn't hesitate to attack repeatedly. Unlike most spiders that bite once and retreat, Atrax robustus bites multiple times in rapid succession, each bite injecting more venom. Sydney residents have learned to live with this reality. During the summer months, especially after heavy rains, warnings are issued, alerting people to increased funnel web activity. It's common to find these spiders wandering along sidewalks, in garages, and even inside houses. They are attracted to moisture and frequently fall into swimming pools. And here's the terrifying detail. A funnel web can remain alive inside a pool for hours, waiting in an air bubble trapped in its fur. When someone tries to remove it thinking it's dead, it attacks. The poison acts quickly. Within minutes, the victim begins to feel tingling around the mouth. The tongue goes numb. Intense nausea begins, and then the whole body begins to tremble uncontrollably. The toxin attacks neurotransmitters, causing a massive release of acetylcholine and norepinephrine. The result is a chemical storm in the nervous system. Excessive salivation, tearing, profuse sweating, and violent muscle spasms follow. Blood pressure fluctuates dangerously, and without immediate treatment, pulmonary edema and cardiac arrest can occur. Children are especially vulnerable. Their lower body weight means that the concentration of venom is proportionally higher. Before anti-venom, the infant mortality rate was frighteningly high. The development of the anti-venom was a milestone in Australian medical history. Scientists used rabbits immunized with small doses of venom to produce antibodies. These antibodies are then extracted and purified to create the life-saving serum. But producing anti-venom requires venom. And collecting venom from funnel webs is one of the most dangerous professions in Australia. Trained volunteers capture live spiders using specific techniques. The spiders are then taken to specialized facilities where the venom is extracted through electrical stimulation of the glands. A single spider can provide enough venom for several doses of antivenom. But the process needs to be repeated constantly because the spiders eventually stop producing venom in captivity and need to be released. There is a public program in Sydney where residents are encouraged to collect funnel webs and hand them in to collection centres. Detailed instructions are provided on how to do this safely. Use a glass jar. Slide a lid onto the bottom. Never try to pick it up with your hands, and never underestimate how fast this spider can move. Because the Atrax robustus doesn't just bite, it chases. If you run, it can follow you for several meters before giving up. Would you live in a city where deadly spiders could appear in your swimming pool? You don't need to go to Australia or the Amazon. That spider could be in your garage right now. A shiny black body, a red hourglass on its abdomen. The black widow spider is iconic, and its name comes from a disturbing behavior. After mating, the female devours the male. The venom of Latrodectus mactans contains alpha-latrotoxin, which is 15 times more potent than that of a rattlesnake. It attacks the nervous system, causing extreme muscle pain, abdominal cramps that mimic appendicitis, intense sweating, and a sensation described as being burned from the inside. But here's the twist. She rarely injects enough venom to kill, because to her, humans aren't prey, we're just accidental threats. Since the 1950s, no deaths have been officially recorded in the United States, but hundreds of bites occur every year, and the treatment is as painful as the venom. The black widow spider is found on every continent except Antarctica. Different species inhabit different regions, but they all share similar characteristics. Potent neurotoxic venom and discreet behavior. They prefer dark, sheltered places. Piles of wood, spaces under decks, rarely used garages, outdoor toilets, and anywhere they can build their jagged webs in peace. The black widow spider's web isn't as aesthetically impressive as those of other spiders. It's chaotic and disorganized, but it's incredibly strong. Insects that get trapped rarely manage to escape, and when something touches the web, the black widow instantly feels the vibrations. She remains motionless in the center or hidden in a corner, assessing whether it is prey or a threat. If trapped, it moves quickly, wraps its victim in silk, and injects digestive enzymes. If threatened, it usually flees to the darkest corner of the web. But if there is nowhere to run, if she's protecting her eggs, or if she's touched directly, she bites. The bite itself is almost imperceptible. Some victims describe it as a pinprick. Others don't even feel it at the time. But within half an hour, the symptoms begin. First comes the local pain, then the pain spreads. Muscles begin to contract involuntarily. The back arches. The abdomen becomes rigid as a board. Patients often arrive at the emergency room, thinking they are having a heart attack or acute appendicitis. Doctors who fail to recognize the symptoms may order unnecessary surgeries. It was only after multiple documented cases that the medical community began to associate these specific symptoms with black widow spider envenomation. Modern treatment involves antivenom, muscle relaxants, and potent analgesics. But even with treatment, symptoms can persist for days. Muscle weakness can last for weeks. And here's a disturbing fact. Children and the elderly are more vulnerable. Their systems may not be able to withstand the burden of poisoning. Severe hypertension can lead to stroke. Cardiac arrhythmias can be fatal. The cannibalistic sexual behavior of the black widow spider, which gave rise to its name, is fascinating and brutal. After mating, the male often tries to escape, but the female is larger, stronger, and faster. In many cases, she captures it, wraps it in silk, and consumes it. This provides essential nutrients for the development of the eggs. A male can produce up to 9 egg sacs, each containing between 200 and 400 offspring, but the male isn't always devoured. Recent research shows that young, agile males have a better chance of escaping, and some males deliberately choose females that have already fed, reducing the risk of becoming their next meal. The black widow spider is not naturally aggressive towards humans. Most bites occur when the spider is accidentally pressed against the skin. Someone puts their hand in a box without looking. Someone puts on a boot that has been stored for months. Someone sits on a park bench without checking. It is the accidental encounter that becomes dangerous. And the black widow spider is increasingly adapting to urban environments. With fewer natural predators and an abundance of insects attracted to lights, cities have become ideal habitats. Exterminators report a steady increase in calls related to black widow spiders, and owners of older homes are finding that eliminating these spiders completely is nearly impossible. They return. They always return. Would you handle a pile of wood without gloves knowing that she might be there? Southern United States, an old house, walls with cracks, and in those shadows lives the most discreet and perhaps the most dangerous spider of all. The Loxosceles reclusa is small, shy, avoids confrontation, but when accidentally bitten, usually inside a forgotten garment in a closet, it releases a necrotizing venom. The venom contains sphingomyelinase D, an enzyme that literally dissolves human tissue. The bite begins with a slight itch, then the area turns red, then the skin begins to rot. In severe cases, necrosis can affect muscles and bones. Amputation surgeries have been necessary, and the worst part, there is no specific anti-venom. Doctors describe brown recluse wounds as volcanoes of flesh. Some take months to heal, others never heal completely. The brown recluse has a distinctive marking, a violin-shaped pattern on its cephalothorax. This is why it is also called the violin spider. However, this marking can be difficult to see, especially in young specimens or in low-light environments. And it is precisely in low-light environments that it thrives. Basements, attics, closed closets, behind furniture, inside stored cardboard boxes. It can live for months without food or water, waiting patiently. Unlike other spiders that build elaborate webs to capture prey, the brown recluse weaves only small, irregular webs in hidden corners. It actively hunts at night, pursuing small insects. During the day, she remains completely still in her hiding place, and that's where the accidents happen. Someone picks up a box that's been stored away for years. Someone puts on a coat that's been in the closet. Someone puts their foot in a shoe and unintentionally presses the spider against their skin. The initial bite is usually painless. Many victims don't even realize they've been bitten until hours later when symptoms begin. The bite area may present a mild burning sensation. Some victims describe it as a mosquito bite, but within 6 to 12 hours, the situation changes drastically. A blister forms in the center of the bite. The surrounding skin becomes red and hot. The blister eventually bursts, releasing a clear fluid, and then necrosis begins. The center of the wound turns dark, almost black. Dead skin forms a hard scab. But beneath this scab, the tissue continues to deteriorate. Loxosceles venom contains multiple toxins that work together. Some destroy blood cells, others rupture cell walls. And sphingomyelinase D activates a cascade of immune responses that paradoxically worsen the damage. The body's immune system tries to fight the poison by sending white blood cells to the area, but these cells release enzymes that inadvertently destroy more healthy tissue. It's a cycle of destruction that can continue for weeks. Doctors treating brown recluse bites face difficult decisions. Cutting away necrotic tissue can prevent the spread of infection, but cutting too much can cause permanent damage. Cutting too little can allow necrosis to deepen. Some cases require multiple surgeries, skin grafts, months of antibiotics to prevent secondary infections, and even after all that, permanent scarring is inevitable. There is debate in the medical community about the ideal treatment. Some advocate for early surgical intervention. Others argue that most bites heal naturally and that unnecessary surgery causes more harm than good. The truth is that every bite is different. The amount of venom injected varies. The location of the bite matters. and the individual immune system's response is unpredictable. Some bites result in only a small injury that heals in a few weeks. Others create deep craters that never close completely. Children and the elderly are more vulnerable to systemic complications. The venom can cause destruction of red blood cells leading to anemia. It can affect the kidneys, causing renal failure. And in very rare cases, it can be fatal. The brown recluse spider is found primarily in the south-central United States. However, reports of bites occur in regions where it supposedly does not exist. This raises questions about unidentified species or about spiders being inadvertently transported during moves and shipments. Exterminators admit that controlling brown recluse populations is extremely difficult. They reproduce rapidly. A single female can produce up to 5 egg sacs per year, each containing up to 50 offspring. Unlike other spiders that disperse after birth, young recluse spiders may remain close to the nest, creating dense colonies in ideal locations. Infested homes can harbor hundreds of brown recluse bugs without the residents even realizing it. They are so discreet, so silent, so perfectly adapted to living in the shadows. Could you sleep peacefully knowing that a bite could rot your arm? Remote forests of China and Vietnam. A tarantula the size of a dinner plate. Haplopelma schmidti is not the most venomous spider in terms of pure potency, but its venom causes something that science still doesn't fully understand: extreme and prolonged pain even after treatment. Victims report a burning sensation that lasts for weeks. Unlike other spiders on this list, the Chinese bird spider is aggressive. It stands on its hind legs, bares its fangs, and attacks without hesitation. And since it's often kept as an exotic pet, accidents happen. In 2007, a farmer was bitten. He almost lost his arm. To this day, he still feels phantom pain. Its venom may not be the most lethal, but it is one of the cruelest, because it doesn't need to kill you, just make you wish you'd never touched it. The trade in exotic tarantulas has grown exponentially in recent decades. Enthusiasts around the world maintain collections of dozens, sometimes hundreds, of different species. Haplopelma schmidti is particularly popular for its striking coloration and imposing size, but it is also one of the most dangerous to keep. Unlike New World tarantulas that rely primarily on urticating hairs for defense, Old World Asian tarantulas like the Chinese bird spider depend exclusively on their fangs and venom, and they don't hesitate to use them. Experienced breeders report that this species is unpredictable. One individual may tolerate occasional handling, while another attacks at the slightest movement near its terrarium. There is no reliable standard of behavior. When threatened, Haplopelma schmidti adopts a characteristic defensive posture. It stands on its hind legs, raising the front part of its body. The front legs remain extended, displaying the chelicerae. This is a clear demonstration that she is prepared to attack. And when it attacks, the movement is explosive. In a fraction of a second, it closes the distance and sinks its fangs in. The fangs of an adult Haplopelma can be more than a centimeter long enough to pierce deep into the skin and inject venom directly into muscle tissue. The pain is described as unbearable. Not just intense, but with a unique quality that common analgesics cannot adequately control. Victims report a burning, electric sensation that pulses in waves. Some describe it as if the affected limb is being systematically destroyed from the inside out. And what's most disturbing is the duration. While bites from other spiders tend to decrease in intensity after a few days, the pain from a Haplopelma can persist for weeks. Analysis of the venom reveals a complex mixture of neurotoxins and cytotoxins. Some components attack sodium and potassium channels in nerve cells, causing erratic firing of pain signals. Other components cause severe local inflammation and limited tissue destruction. But what really intrigues scientists is that even after the inflammation subsides, the pain persists. This suggests that the venom may cause semi-permanent changes in the local nerves. There is no anti-venom for Haplopelma bites. Treatment is purely symptomatic. Analgesics, anti-inflammatories, and in severe cases, regional nerve blocks to temporarily interrupt the transmission of pain signals. Hospitalizations are common, and even after being discharged, victims often need follow-up care to manage chronic pain. The 2007 case mentioned earlier involved an experienced breeder with decades of experience handling dangerous tarantulas. He was transferring an adult female Haplopelma to a new terrarium when she suddenly turned and bit him on the index finger. The pain was immediate and overwhelming. Within minutes, his entire hand was swollen. Within hours, his forearm was the size of a soccer ball. Doctors considered amputation when a secondary infection developed. Aggressive antibiotics eventually brought the infection under control, but the nerve and soft tissue damage was permanent. Years later, he still hasn't regained full movement in his finger, and he feels phantom pain that he describes as constant reminders of his decision to keep a creature that should never have been in captivity. But people continue to buy Chinese bird spiders. They are impressive to observe, large, powerful, exotic, until maintenance time arrives. Changing the substrate, providing water. Any task that requires opening the terrarium becomes a calculated risk. And considering that these tarantulas can live for more than 15 years in captivity, that's 15 years of constant risk. Is it worth having a creature like that at home? These spiders are not monsters. They are the result of millions of years of evolution. Every poison, every behavior, every hunting strategy was shaped to ensure survival. We are not targets. We are merely clumsy giants invading their world. And perhaps the real question isn't why they are so venomous, but rather why we insist on entering their territory. But there's something few people know. Right now, spiders are being discovered in tropical forests, whose venom has yet to be catalogued. Some may be harmless, others may redefine what we call lethal. What if the world's most venomous spider hasn't been found yet? Which of these spiders scared you the most? And if you could choose one to never encounter again in your life, which would it be? Leave your comments below, and if you've had the courage to watch this far, subscribe to the channel, because the next video is going to be even more disturbing.